Does this sound familiar? If your HVAC unit is making this sound, stick around for a few minutes and I'll show you how you can fix this problem and possibly save you a few $100s. Before we get started, please don't forget to like and subscribe as I'm on my journey to reach 1,000 subscribers this year. Much appreciate all the support, and let's get on with the video. Now, if your HVAC is sounding like this, then there are 3 things that you can do before you call a technician and spend a few $100s. Guys, before we get started, also remember to shut all the power off to this unit. There's got to be a switch nearby, and make sure that the power is off before you start working on this. Once you open the HVAC cover, you'll see it something like this. The sound which you're hearing is likely going to come from the squirrel cage blower, usually at the lower part of the HVAC unit. Now let's take a closer look. So the problem is inside this, I guess you call it a squirrel cage, and there's 2 nuts here that I'm going to have to remove to be able to access this. I'm going to be able to pull this out. Now that both of the screws are out, this drum's easily removable. Let's take a look at this. Yep, it slides right out. There you go. Alright, so you guys can hear this. So the bottom of the squirrel cage is actually touching the bottom of the drum. So we discovered that the fan here, if you look at the blades, every time if it moves down, it gets closer and closer to this metal piece. So you notice this because the jagged edges of each one of those blades are getting bent a little. So I'm going to try to line the squirrel cage. You can align this cage is by removing the screw, and then you see how it push in and pull on it, it will move. So if this was the position it was in before and you hear it scraping against the metal, I'm going to pull it out. You don't hear it anymore. So what I'm going to do is now tighten the screw, and that should hopefully fix the problem. Now that I've tightened it, if I spin it, I don't hear any more noise. And you know, this is really a lot of the reasons why the sound is happening, because if this becomes loose, the squirrel cage is going to move back and forth and shift a little. So as long as this is really tight, I can't pull it back and forth anymore. It's staying in place. And when I spin it full speed, you don't hear anything. See? Guys, now if you're going to put this back in, you got to be extremely careful. There's a lot of wires here that you don't want to cut. So you see this bar here, this is actually going to be facing you, so this is going to be a bit of a challenge trying to get it back into the way it was before. It's got to be careful. Like I said, if you have 2 people, it'd be much easier, but if you're alone and you're strong enough, you should be able to manage this. It's not entirely heavy, just a bit tricky with all the wires that you don't want to cut. Now it's working like a charm again. No sound, no nothing. We're back in business. If you liked the video so far, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It'll help me push out more content like this one. Thanks. When I tried to remove it, it came out pretty easily, so it makes me think that these bolts are not even tight. Let me tighten this up. That's probably why the cage is moving so much. I'm going to tighten this back up. There you go. Now it's tight. So we finally get back in there and do a quick couple tests. I actually spun it. I don't hear anything. So I'm spinning it. Don't hear anything at all. So I think that resolved it. You hear that? So it's definitely brushing up against this again. This time, I'm gonna have to remove this piece from these bolts here. And then what we're gonna do is evaluate what's going on inside the squirrel cage. All right, so the best position for taking care of this is to have it face upwards. And it took me a bit to figure this one out, but I maneuvered it around all the cables and got it to where I needed to be to tighten up the bolts and reposition the squirrel cage. I got it all out, and the solution to this is really removing all the screws and try to reposition this whole squirrel cage with this motor, and then tighten it that way it's aligned. I'm going to try to align this whole motor. I'll keep one hand in the back here. Hey guys, if you notice that there is a lamp that I've been using here, it's called the Handy Bright, and I'll leave this in the video description below with the product link. And one good thing about it has a magnetic bottom here, which allows me to clamp on any or attach it to any of the metal pieces here to give me the proper lighting. Anyway, so I've already realigned the squirrel cage. I ran through a couple tests here. Watch, I'm going to spin it. We'll see if there's any sound in this, and see if it's touching any of the metal pieces. It's complete silence. So I'm going to try to tighten it up, and hopefully the sound will go away for good. Got to be extra careful, guys. There's sharp metal pieces within the fan that I'm spinning. As you can see, your fingers can get cut. So it's been about 3 weeks since adjusting the squirrel cage, and we haven't had any issues with it since. So that was the quick fix that we did and saved us a few bucks. Hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching.